very eminent personalities of the ESG industry. Chief guest for the day, Karandeep Singh. He is a chartered accountant with 30 years of finance leadership experience across Indian and global corporations. Currently, he serves on the board of Aspire Impact and is a group CFO, M&A head with Nodwin Gaming, one e-sport company in emerging markets. Karandeep has worked across sectors, ED Tech, that is Simply Learning, retail, that is Tesco, consumer tech, Flipkart, software and services, Sapient, Dell, Ariba, high-tech, Moser Beer, and restaurants, Yum Brands, and across markets, India, MENA, SIA, Japan, and Greater China, in various finance roles. He is also an active angel investor. Sir, I welcome you once again to this ESG conclave and thank you very much for accepting our invitation to be the chief guest for this conclave. Moving on to the keynote speaker, Mr. Sridhar L, Head Environmental, Social and Governance, that is ESG, at Bangalore International Airport Limited, Governing Council member at United Nations Global Compact Network India, experienced sustainability and ESG professional for 28 years in the field of environment, climate change, strategic planning, water, circular economy, energy, support chain sustainability, audits, P&L management, committed for the development and implementation of initiatives for a sustainable future. Passionately collaborates with teams to create and implement strategic corporate sustainability goals. Currently working as Head Sustainability at Bangalore International Airport Limited, responsible for the Sustainability 2030 strategy and deliverables. Previously worked with Diageo India, leading supply chain sustainability and Saint Gobain India groups at BIAL, drives the Sustainability Strategy 2030, which supports 11 UN SDGs directly and 6 other UN SDGs indirectly. Responsible for ESG drives across BIAL, UN Global Compact Principles, Airport Council International, Carbon Accreditation Program, Green Building Certification, Carbon Sequestration, Strategic Implementation of Pillars, Water Stewardship, Net Zero Carbon Emissions, Community Aligned Noise Management, Sustainable Procurement, Sustainable Mobility, Circular Economy along with Sustainable Transformation and Behavioral Change. Currently part of the United Nations Global Compact Governing Council and contributing for collaborative sustainability drive in the country. Key focus areas are environment, labor, anti-corruption and human rights. His educational qualifications are, he is a BE in Chemical, PGDBA, Diploma in Industry Safety, Green Belt in Six Sigma, CII Certified Resource Efficiency and Environmental Sustainability Auditor, Senior Leadership Program from IIMK, IICA Certified ESG Professional and Impact Leader. Sir, it's my proud privilege to introduce such a heavy profile to all the crowd gathered here, and I welcome you once again for this ESG conclave and thank you for accepting our invitation to be the keynote speaker. Thank you very much.
Thank you, CS Pradeep ji, for introducing the keynote speaker as well as chief guest for today. Now it's time to hear from our keynote speaker, Mr. Sridhar L. So I request the keynote speaker to kindly deliver the keynote address.
Good morning, all. Thank you for the introduction. It's a learning for me. Like next time, I should send only my designation and not the entire history, so that I'll try to live up to this type of introduction given over here. Thank you very much. Um, Many years back, my mother told me when I was in college or school, she said don't speak too much in front of learned people. Today, the entire dais with such an experienced people. You are all the industry stalwarts and going to contribute. But you have to bear with me 10 to 15 minutes. I have to not follow my mother's instruction today. Um, Always I used to follow that, try to speak less, I follow my mother's instructions, so I'll try to keep up that to an extent possible today. Why I'm telling is that it's all resource efficiency, because everything what we do in our day-to-day life and the corporate world, the type of resources always we used to fight for, which many of you in the corporate may agree, like at any point of time, if you are very happy and tell I have all the resources to deliver, I think I would like to talk to you in person and convey my your fortunate part of it to you, because always in personal life or professional life we always feel, in my opinion, one step at least below our resources expectation, but we would always expected and committed to deliver one step higher than what we can deliver. So that is where this entire resource efficiency comes in. So sustainability, ESG, all these buzzwords, because all the experienced speakers have already introduced what is ESG, sustainability, how the frameworks evolve. And the people who are waiting here, the experts, are going to take us through the frameworks over here. In between, what am I going to do? Just give a summary of it and also share some of the practical experiences what we have gone through in the next 5 to 10 minutes in the current organization, also how we have approached it. The first thing is human evolution. All of us know today we are all human beings, but to come to this stage we have crossed multiple stages, the evolution theories if we go through. Same thing is for the ESG also. It's in our DNA, very rightly said, and then somewhere we missed it out. So what happens when we forget something? Somebody has to remind us, and that is where all this ESG, sustainability, frameworks, the type of disclosures, stakeholder expectations, engagement, everything comes into it. 2-3 decades back when I started off my career in the early 90s and mid 90s, the compliance to the environmental requirements, the safety requirements, the maximum thing expected out of an organization and the professionals over there. So how it got evolved, then slowly it moved into climate change, environmental responsibility beyond compliance, health and safety, taking care of people, practices and how we ensure our safety, then move towards sustainability of bringing in the people, planet and profit, 3 P's. All 3 P's are important. Many times, a couple of decades back, I have come across people thinking profit as something which we should not be talking in sustainability. Without profit, people and planet cannot be taken care, and without taking care of people and planet, only profit is meaningless. So that balance things came into picture. Then it evolved further. Somewhere we are missing it out. The framework started coming in. People started the disclosure aspects into it. Stakeholder expectations got increased, and environment, the CSR part also came into existence. So now something has to be governed. Nothing is governed will never give any result, because governance is a key part of it, and this professional, all the professionals over here will vouch for it, because you are the people of governance. I always used to tell people, my professional colleagues and all, how I view company secretary profession is not less than a cabinet secretary to Government of India. So for a company, you are the topmost professional who is going to guide the board and the way you do the governance, and we ESG professionals, sustainability professionals have a role to collaborate with you all, because without governance, E&S will not sustain. So that is where this is very, very important, and it's into the core working principles of the organization and also to the profession of company secretaries, because it's a collaborative work. Then the Paris climate change and everything happened. People started setting targets. We are all must be familiar with 1.5 degree approach, 2 degree approaches. 2015 we thought like it's like we'll see 2030, 2050 what will happen. 2030 is nearing. It looks like, if I see some doomsday reports predictions, 1.5 degree pathway we are going to miss it shortly. Which means already we are experiencing the intense heat. Most of you must be Bangaloreans here. In the last 28 years, I've never seen a heat part of it in this last 3 months, what we experienced. When I came in 1996 to Bangalore first time, that time the local Bangaloreans, my friends, used to say, "This is not the Bangalore what we have cherished. You are all not that fortunate to have it." The same dialogue, if now I am telling to the people who are now moving to Bangalore, this is not the Bangalore I have seen in 96. So somewhere some deterioration has happened. We are all responsible for it, but time is still there to bring it back to this flow of things, so that we will be able to cherish a very sustainable future part of it. Day-to-day examples we see is all plenty of examples. We also should see the positive part of it, because as human nature we always look at what is that something not comforting us. But the silver lining in this is that we have not lost that time. It is up even now, if we all as professionals and individuals come together, this building a sustainable future, UN SDGs 17 what we speak about implementing, 2030 may look like just 6 years later, how are we going to do it? But there are a lot of things that happened across the globe and also in India in particular. So with that motivation we have to take it up, because nothing is lost, because if we call it out like 1.5 degree we are going to miss it, then we will not be able to even do any efforts into that. UN Global Compact came up with this framework. There are multiple frameworks have come up over a period of last 2 decades. Today, the frameworks of ESG make us to see through that lens what is sustainability and what is the risk for the organization and stakeholders, and also how we have this risk mitigation for the community at large and also for the investors and the organization. United Nations Global Compact in the early 2000 they have come out in this beginning of this century. Compact principles, 10 principles in the governing areas of human rights, labor, environment and anti-corruption. If you look at it, those things by and large takes care of what is the ESG frameworks today, which is much more refined and coming to the very specific what we should do on climate change and all. These things are all something like an umbrella principles. Long way we have come up. We have said it's in our DNA. We said it has evolved from compliance to beyond compliance to 3Ps, and also now the ESG frameworks, the investor community risk, and now the stakeholder expectations on the ESG. And we have also said the time is not lost. There are a lot of negative things out there which we have missed it, whether it is in climate change, waste management, even many times, sometime back, 3-4 years back, in an apartment where I visit, people used to put penalties, the association, if you don't segregate, and then people started doing it. Then one day one gentleman found and then told the association, you are telling us that we have to do segregate, then what is the truck which is going, all the segregated thing, they are keeping it together. So why I am bringing this example is today that is changed a large. Things are happening to a greater extent. This is a journey. My only request to this audience over here is to look at it, this ESG and sustainability, from the baby steps being taken and how we are evolving for the future, because at any point of time we should not lose the hope and motivation, because this is a long journey. We have to cherish the successes which we are making and build on it and do it for a building a sustainable future. Here I'll bring in the example of the organization where I work, Bangalore International Airport Limited, which operates Kempagoda International Airport, Bengaluru. In the peak of COVID, we have been revisiting our strategy and developed a new strategy of ESG sustainability for 2030. There was a peak of the COVID. So management very clearly said at that point of time, we are a set of people who are fighting for the current crisis. The team which are working for the future should go ahead and continue doing this work. You should not derail the work. That is the type of support and commitment in our tougher times we got it, which made us to take a leap within the next 3 years. Otherwise, we would have derailed it by 10 years back. Many of our achievements we have achieved in that 3 to 4 years time in the last 4 years from the peak COVID time. Why I am telling this is ESG sustainability is a responsibility which has to be continued even in adverse times. Depending on the quantum it may vary, but every day it has to happen. It's like our exercise regime. Many people who want to do a weight reduction program, the doctors always used to say a buzzword, consistency. In ESG also, consistency is important. It's not that we have done a fantastic job in 1 year and then we can rest for it. No, it has to continue. What next? These are all the type of the principles we have to bring in. We have a strategy which covers 6 key strategic pillars. Water stewardship, net zero emission, community aligned noise management, sustainable procurement, sustainable mobility and circular economy. Having done the pillars, we also have come out with the 3 core foundational values. Why values are required? Because entire ESG is a value creation. In a corporate governance, the ESG is a value creation. And in the strategy also, we found without these values, this strategy could not be implemented. What are those values? Corporate social responsibility, we call it as corporate social value, behavioral change and compliance. Compliance, which is a foundation. The behavioral change, whether it is corporate or as individuals, very, very important to us. When we say a behavioral change in front of an audience of youngsters in an organization or in any forum, the first question used to come is like, what behavioral problem you have with us? What did you find like negative behavior? These behavioral change programs are not for finding a negative behavior and altering. It is to build on the positive behavior, the strengths of an individual and build on it for the desired thing. Because each one of us have been designed by the nature and the God, by to deliver certain things in a positive way. Sometimes the type of the experiences makes us to think like to taking that next bold step. When I come back, what we have done in water stewardship, today we are a water positive organization. We replenish more than double of the water than what we consume. We are also recovering 2/3 of our potable water requirement from rainwater harvesting systems, which we would like to take it to near 100% shortly. Net zero emission, we are a carbon neutral airport from 2017. Now, thank you. Now we have set ourselves eye on 2030 net zero scope 1 and 2, and that too residual emissions, not to buy any credits and to have a carbon sequestration through our own green landscape. Scope 3, we have a significant commitment to reduce it, and also working on how do we make it our scope 3 zero, and we'll come out in a public announcement shortly on that. And coming to the sustainable procurement, one of the toughest aspects in any organization, because it is outside our operational control zone, the type of complex supply chain, the vendors, partners with whom you work. Today, the lot of responsibility coming up from a consumer angle. When we buy something, we are looking at some details like how sustainable this product is, what is the type of packaging. Sometimes people nowadays, I could see a lot of youngsters and also elders try to avoid some products which has excessive packaging. There is no one rule to say like this will take care of it, because end of the day when we say 3 P's, a person's comfort and the hygiene, and COVID also has brought up a lot of things like what the plastics and everything we were eliminating in COVID time, it's a life and death. So we have to bring in a lot of plastics. So it is a balancing approach, sustainability. So we can't always look at like this is the roadmap and this is the solution. We have to balance it, an appropriate roadmap, what matches to the organization, and we should implement it. So the partnership with supply chain comes into a very big thing, because it is also an yes part of it. In social part of it, like what we focus on the diversity, equity and inclusion, the supply chain part of it, the employee health and safety, employee mental well-being, and the community part of it. In the community, when we take it, we also adopt the schools, multiple government schools, and then the schools are equipped with the rainwater harvesting system, renewable electricity. That behavioral part of seeing is believing, demonstrating, we are trying to bring in with the the school students. So that variety of things which we are trying, it's all available in our website. Why I thought I'll tell you is that if I tell for something on only the ESG part of it, and if you don't tell examples, this part of this thing may not, as human nature, we may not be able to take that out. Do you think all these successes which we had, we are the first LED powered runway in the country, we have a green landscape of several hundred acres which is also sequestering carbon, 100% renewable electricity operation. Today we are at zero scope 2 emissions thanks to 100% renewable electricity operation. All these things happened over a period of time. The consistency in which the management is committed and the people have worked towards it, even in adverse time, not taking away from that roadmap, has brought to us to the situation. Now, anybody can say like that, all these things been achieved, what next? Is it something which we will have to just cherish and say we have done everything? No, this is just a beginning. This is only we've considered like a foundation stepping stone. We have set our eyes for 2030, where we have to set a new benchmarks and then also surpass the benchmarks. Is this a one organization, one person, entity in Bangalore? Let us say some 100 companies or entities become net zero. Whether all our climate change problems will get solved? A lot of you are nodding the head. Very right. No. Agreed. Why? Because this entire sustainability responsibility which we are telling is now has to become a positive infection across the globe. We have to keep doing it. Everybody should do it. It should not end up like that everybody nobody story where nobody does anything. It has to be like everybody start contributing to this thing, because the initial momentum and inertia will take time. We, the professionals in this field, whether it is company secretaries and overall the professionals available over here, the ESG professionals, the every part of the professional entity and also as individuals, we should not lose our motivation at any point of time. This is not like, believe me, I have traveled 28 years of this learning experience in this corporates, though it is my third corporate. It was not like 3 decades back how it is viewed by the public and stakeholder. Why I repeatedly telling is because many times I have seen people coming very close to the target and then say like it's not us. We don't have the budgets, we don't have the resources. I have seen many, I know multiple people works in multiple organizations and multiple, they want to do a lot of good things, they would have done great things. They would have come to some 98%, because in mathematics getting 98 I think for nowadays it's very easy. The 2% is what we should keep consistency, which will make us to that type of commitments. So I am very sure this type of professional participation over here on a Saturday for this cause of ESG whole day, which gives us also a very good hope that this